back from his extended sabbatical. Yeah, the guy in the upper left. I didn't mirror my screen, so I'm going to point this way because he's over here. Smart. So, boy Chucks, you already know who I am. Pete, KOST, King of Sports Talk. I'm going with a new moniker. Fuck it, I gave it to myself. At me if you want. My boy Jake down at the bottom. You know, the other Pete down at the bottom. He likes to be on the bottom. I like to be on the top. So there you go.
I'm more of a top guy myself.
What? But you're not on the top tonight. How about that, bitch? So no, Birds of a Feather. Week 13, 14. Week 14. Good game going on Thursday Night Football. We're gonna get into some Eagles talk, specifically some MVP discussion, and we're gonna rock it out. Do we have?
Oh my God! Oh my! I'm embarrassed! He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
What in the world? Oh, there you are.
First time
hearing that. Vacation again,
first time. Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? It's Birds of a Feather on A2D Radio, brought to you by Baggio's Breads in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best breads and sandwiches. 10% off your order if you mention A2D. You're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere you download your podcast. So if you're listening to us on your commute or live right now, we greatly appreciate your support. I'm back, baby. Let's go. I am back. I'm happy to be back, but also not happy to be back. My 3 weeks in Florida was amazing. A lot of fun. Disney's always fun. Time in Tampa is always fun. So Brady. It's sad. Not for Tom Brady. That's correct. It's sad to come back, but it is awesome to be back with you fellas and with the fam here listening in. So, like Pete already said, he already introduced, so I don't need to. But what up, gentlemen? How you guys been?
Who are you? Where have you been?
Florida, chilling with Mickey Mouse.
Listen, fam. He was not only was he in Florida for 3 weeks. This bitch met with a realtor already. Like, so
Mickey Mouse convinced him.
He wants to be a gecko, man. He just wants to be out there with the geckos.
Yeah, I mean, like,
gators.
I guess the cat's a little bit out of the bag already. Like, yeah, we've met with a realtor. For those who don't know, we are planning to move to Florida. It's still a long ways away. Probably a year or so away, roughly. So, you still got me for a long while, but that is the plan in the future. And when it gets closer, we'll deal with it then. But I'm happy to be back in Philly. Well, South Jersey, but back at home in Philly area. Got an awesome show. I'm excited for this topic because this is what I've been hearing. This is a topic that's been debated for the past week or so that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, get some good discussion with you guys and the family. So we're going to talk Jalen Hurts MVP discussion in the first quarter of the show. In the second quarter of the show, we will give our reactions, our feedback to the Eagles' victory over the Packers from Sunday night. In the third quarter, we'll preview and give our predictions of the Eagles-Titans game coming up this Sunday. That's a huge game. And in the fourth quarter, as always, we go no huddle, and we'll just talk about anything you guys want to talk about. First quarter sponsor, though, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, if you're looking for a change of career brokerage, contact Alan Floyd of eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820. The poll question for tonight: Jalen Hurts should be the front runner for MVP. Agree or disagree? Again, that's brought to you by Alan Foy. The first quarter of the show, and the poll question brought to you by Alan Foy of eXp Realty LLC. All right, so Mr. Pete Evans, I'm gonna go with you first, my Mr. Pete. What say you? I know that a lot of the talk right now is in our market, in our area, is Jalen Hurts MVP. But it's also hard to ignore some of the other guys out there, what they're doing, specifically Mr. Patrick Mahomes, because he's been lights out too. So, what do you think? Do you think Jalen Hurts deserves to be the front runner for MVP right now?
I think you have to start off with what does the MVP? What does it mean to you? Like, how do you value it? How do you evaluate it? Is it the player with the best stats? Is it truly what it says? Most valuable player, most valuable asset to their team. I mean, listen, it's easy for me to answer this question. It's not gonna be popular. I absolutely disagree. You said Pat Mahomes first before you even mentioned Jalen Hurts. You read him in the title question. But if you have to find a reason not to give it to Pat Mahomes, like the same way it was the same thought process of how can Bill Belichick not win Coach of the Year every year, and you got to give it to somebody else. That's how I feel with Pat Mahomes this year. You take away Tariq, you take away Tyreek Hill, you take away all the not say all the other, but essentially his whole wide receiver, his whole skill position is new outside of Travis Kelce. You know what I mean? Montez Scantling, Kadarius Toney now, Juju's out, and he's still finding continuous ways to win. I mean, the biggest thing is we all thought it was Tyreek Hill as the number one outlet. No, what makes that fucking Kansas City offense go is Travis Kelce. Without Travis Kelce, then it's a whole different. I don't say it's a whole different story. It would have a different look to it. But I had to say I disagree. Is he a strong contestant for MVP? Yeah, he can't. He's not the front runner. I mean, hell, like they have the best record in the league, and when you look around most places, they're the third best team overall power rank. You know what I mean? And Vegas tells you what they think of Jalen Hurts as the MVP. You know what I mean? I'm not saying everything for me is dictated by Vegas, but I just look at my eyes. This team is good. Is good in most all areas. Now he's just making mistakes. He's not costing us games. I would say Sunday was the first game that I saw to where, listen, bro, like without him, I don't know if we win that game. You see what I'm saying? Without him, I don't. 2 weeks in a row, honestly, with the Indy in the last drive and then what we saw Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think if we had Gardner Minshew starting, does this team still have a winning record? I believe we do. You take Pat Mahomes away from Kansas City, who is their backup? I don't even know who it is. You see what I'm saying? So, for me, it's Mahomes. I know. I don't know if people y'all gonna agree with me. I'm gonna be on a Long Island by myself. So, who's next?
I'll go next. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up right where you left off, Pete. I mean, it's for me, it's an easy disagree. I understand how good of a year Jalen Hurts is having, and I understand what he brings to the table and what he's brought to this Eagles team. And I agree with you the fact that the last 2 weeks, I don't think we win our last two games without him. However, I mean, you just look at Mahomes' numbers, and that's really what it boils down to, right? Like people don't go into details, and the writers when they put their votes in, they don't look at the details like, oh, Jalen Hurts just broke this record. He just broke the Eagles' QB rushing record in a game, and he's doing all this and that. No, they look at touchdowns to interceptions, passing yards. I think they might incorporate the team's record into it, maybe just a little bit. Yeah. But other than that, I just here we go.
Because I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
got the number
I wanted
comparison.
to bring
I mean, obviously, it's just one more win. However, it's just it is close. I will say it is close, but those passing yards, it's just that's how they look at it. They're very particular with.
What's that last? What's the completion percentage? I can't see because we.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So the completion percentage for Jalen Hurts is 67.3. For Patrick Mahomes, 66.1. So 0.8 difference. So it's like not a difference at all.
How many more passing it? Can we see how many? I mean, obviously it's 1,000 yards difference in the passing yards. I'm interested to see how many more pass attempts.
So passing attempts for Mahomes, it's 442 to Jalen Hurts is 318.
Well, I mean, they have no running game, so all they can do is pass. So,
I mean, they got the kid from our neck of the woods out there.
When they give
him the ball, he's effective as shit.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, and he's getting better. Yeah, each week.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with the poll. It's Patrick Mahomes until the wheels fall off, in my opinion. Now, could Jalen Hurts have like a rally at the end and he just plays phenomenal towards the end of the year? Sure. But I just, with the way Patrick Mahomes has been playing, I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. So Patrick Mahomes is my MVP.
All right, Mr. Young.
I'm gonna switch things up. I'm gonna say it's Hurts. Like obviously, Mahomes is on another level right now, but this is Mahomes every year. Like there's no difference to me. It's like, oh my god, Patrick Mahomes is showing himself to be the best quarterback in the NFL. Holy fucking shit! I'm shocked. I did not see this coming. Next you're gonna tell me that Michael Jordan was like elite for 10 years, or well, Braun was like should be the best player for like a decade. Like, come on now, like the NFL loves storylines. What's a huge storyline heading to this year? Nobody expected Jalen Hurts to even be the starter, or if he was the starter, they figured it was just 1 year. He's lighting the NFL up. He's on a 10-1 team. He's going to probably most likely be the number 1 seed, and he's showing everyone that he's going to get that extension come playoff time, come off season time. The NFL loves storylines. What bigger storyline than to give Jalen Hurts the MVP?
I it's for me, it's really close. Like I think that you can make reasonable arguments either way, and I can't argue too much against you. So I think that again, it's very close. I think these two are the clear front runners. I think it's both of them. It's them two, and then I think a notch below them is everyone else. I am going to disagree to the poll. Unfortunately, I think it is Patrick Mahomes. Um, for the sole reason I think that right now he's just playing a tad bit better than Jalen Hurts is. Now, I'm not trying to take away from Jalen Hurts because I was discussing this with a friend of mine, and he was saying like, Hurts can't do the stuff that Patrick Mahomes does, and I said, yeah, as a passer, no way, but Mahomes can't do some of the stuff that Jalen Hurts can as a runner, and running impacts the game as well, not just passing. And so they're both really what they're doing is they're both leading their teams, their respective teams, um, to the records they have now, and they're doing it in a way where they're carrying the team on their back. So I can't argue for either, but gun in my head, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. Now, what I will say to everyone that's trying to discredit Hurts, for the season he's having, you still got people out there that think it's a joke that that he's that people we think that he should be mentioned in with, everyone, or mentioned in the MVP discussion. I don't think it's a joke. I think that what people have to realize is that throwing this whole thing of, hey, like, he's not doing it in a conventional offense, and he's not doing it as a pure drop passer. I don't think that's being fair, and I think that's also being very old fashioned and traditional in the way the NFL was. And you guys saw my thread that I posted the other night. Like the NFL, the NFL is both cyclical and ever evolving, right? So it's cyclical in the sense that right now the run game is on the rise, and it's ever evolving because right now Bs are part of the run game. That's just what it is. These are part of the run game, and it's here to stay. And so to pigeonhole some of these QBs like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, even Josh Allen. Josh Allen, remember, like when he came in the league, he was a better runner than a passer. Like you can't pigeonhole these running backs into what the mold of the NFL was before. That's not the NFL. That's not the NFL today. The NFL is going to have an impact because they got a dimension. And the true dual threat at quarterback are the ones who can do both. Like, coming into the draft, if the draft of the 21 draft class, QB draft class, took place 20 years ago, Mac Jones would have been number one. But he wasn't. Why? Because they want a quarterback who can do both. You got to have a quarterback who's mobile and can throw. So you have to be able to do both. And Jalen Hurts has shown this season that he's developed to a point where you can trust him with his arm when you need to. And just because the Eagles' past recent games are winning games on the ground, that doesn't mean that Hurts is incapable of winning games with his arm. He's shown that. Like, people forget, beginning the first few games of the year, that's what he was doing. We were passing the ball. We weren't running the ball a lot. He was beating teams with his arms, and then now the past few games, we've gotten back to the run game. So people need to be reminded of that. And so I don't want to take that away from Hurts. He's not just doing it with his legs; he's doing it with his arm too when he needs to. And that's why I have confidence when it comes playoff time that Hurts is going to be able to to win a game in the playoffs with his arm when the team takes away the ground game. Like, remember what the Bucks did last year in the playoffs? They dared Hurts to dare pass, and he couldn't do it. I think this year he'll be able to make that adjustment and be able to pass the ball and win the game when the Eagles need him to. Um, I don't know if you guys had any more to add to that.
Um, I think I think he's improved obviously as a passer. I would still would say that I don't know what the hell Green Bay was thinking by going man in this empty, no robber, no spy, no nothing, whatever. And he was just
They're
taking
thinking they're stupid.
But like we said, like Pete said, he said the story. I don't like it for me personally. If my player on my team that I follow is an MVP, I don't want a handout. You feel what I'm saying? Like I don't want a story. I want them to be the truly most valuable player. And it's like it's almost like when Embiid lost to Jokic. Now that was closer. You feel what I'm saying? But if you look at every other stat, then you can kind of see why where Denver would be without. It just that's the whole other rabbit hole. But I think you said that you kind of hit the nail on the head, Chucks, when you were talking about what teams look for in the QB position. Honestly, those days of the pocket passers, the Peyton Mannings and Brady's and all that, they're gone, and they're gone for this. You're in a whole nother generation now of quarterbacks who have been playing this position at a high level of who they look up to. Yeah, they can say they admire Brady, they can do this, they can do that. But these kids now that are playing the quarterback position, they saw Mike Vick. They saw Donovan McNabb. You see what I'm saying? They saw quarterbacks who can do it with their arm and can also do it with their legs. And Pat Mahomes is that. He's very fringy because he can escape and elude, and he can run when he wants to. He doesn't always need to, but he does escape and elude to throw the ball. Yeah, he can
run. Russ in there.
We've seen in the first half today with Josh Allen, that second touchdown pass. I mean, you gotta have an arm. You need to have arm talent. But just to step at 5-7 step drop and pick apart, that's not going to happen. And we've seen it. The trend is coming. Belichick was kind of ahead of the trend with the running game. The smaller and smaller these DBs get, the smaller and smaller these linebackers get. Guess what's going to happen? The advantageous thing to do now is run the ball because you just don't have the weight and the capacity to stop it. So if it works, it works. I mean, Lamar Jackson 2019 was fucking ridiculous. It was otherworldly. No, and even at the high level that Mahomes and Hurts is playing at now, you got to throw two in there a little bit. Is the fact that, like that year, Lamar Jackson was the first unanimous MVP. Unanimous. Like there was nobody else got a first place vote aside of Lamar Jackson. And even last year, I heard Pete say like you can get like Mahomes. This is only what it does. But the back-to-back MVP is a dude we just beat with a avulsion fracture and thought he had a punctured lung out there on the field. Aaron Rodgers. So still wasn't good enough. And honestly, I probably a couple of those years would have gave it to Pat Mahomes over Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? But 13-3, 2 years in a row. 13-4 last year. I'm sorry. 13-4 last year. That's you kind of see what you see with the hand that you're dealt. But I don't know, man. It's just I don't know. I haven't seen people try to discredit Hurts personally. But if they are, they are.
ESP.
Well,
I'm sorry. Something in my throat.
Next,
go on social media.
Just go on
He
social
doesn't
media.
have style points. I'm sorry. The Eagles ranked 32nd in style points.
My film breakdown reel that was put on ATV this week. If you go to the comment section, you'll see the back and forth I had with my friend. My friend is just he he never believed in Hurts before, and it's so difficult for these people to like give Hurts credit now. And
Mhm.
they're always using the thing like, oh, like yeah, he has a better supporting cast. Of course, he's going to do better. But like that doesn't apply just for Hurts. It does. You can't like any quarterback needs a supporting cast. Like I don't care who you are. Like Mahomes, Josh Allen, they're not going to have MVP type seasons without a good supporting cast.
Look at what
They're
Josh
just
Allen was before he got Diggs.
bigs. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not that's a blanket statement for every quarterback. Every quarterback. So you can't use that and say that's the reason why Hurts is doing well. It's because of his supporting cast. And because system he's in, any team is going to have a system that caters to the quarterback. It doesn't make any sense for a coach to run a system
Yeah, like
that doesn't help the quarterback.
Yes.
it's
That's
crazy
just
that
how
people would
it is.
think like what would be the other side of that coin? Like you draft a quarterback who is system unified, like is a multiverse of a quarterback. That
Mhm.
shit don't exist.
Mhm.
Yeah.
See, I think, but I think there are certain systems that
Like, like,
they like obviously like we dive into Hertz's strengths in this system, right?
Right.
Whereas in Baltimore, you're not like delving into one of his strengths. You're turning the entire offense based on what he can do. Like they changed it on the fly. Like I think that's
what
what
do you
people
mean by
make
that?
great. They catered the entire offense to run around what Lamar can do. Whereas
Right.
an offense like this, they cater around certain facets of Jalen Hurts' game, not primarily
But
only a
that's
run game.
to an extent, but that's more so on the coaches. Like
Mhm.
I will rebuttal that and say the Eagles are successful right now with Hurts because of great coaching and great play calling. I think sure Hurts is in the best position to lead. With Baltimore, I would argue that's not necessarily the case. Greg Roman's passing schemes are holding. So it's not so much that they're catering everything to what Lamar does. I'd say this scheme is holding Lamar Jackson a little bit back because not unleashing his passing potential. Lamar
Mhm.
Jackson, there's this stigma around that he still struggles as a passer, but Lamar is an uber talented passer. Uber, like
Mhm.
he's so good, but
And it's
Greg
costing them
Roman
games
holds
too.
him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg Roman holds him back. So, like, I don't know if I totally agree with that statement, but I get where you're coming from. And I think it's also like quarterbacks like Mahomes and Allen, they could succeed in a lot more different types of schemes than maybe like a Hurts can. That's fine. I think that's a fair statement. I think they're more broad in what they can run, but that doesn't mean those are two people. Like how many other quarterbacks can run a broad spectrum of schemes like those two can? Like
Right.
name me them because there aren't a lot.
There's really no scheme independent quarterback.
No.
Like those are
Yeah,
those guys that just are elite.
like
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
yep. And that's the thing. Like those elite quarterbacks, right? I am not state. Like I will not go there yet. I can't say Hurts is elite, so he's not in that level of talent. But you don't have to be considered an elite quarterback to be in the MVP conversation. Look when Dak was in the MVP conversation. Would you say he was elite? Look at what happened to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan when they went to the Super Bowl. MVP. Was he considered elite? Like Jared Goff, 2000 was that 2018 MVP conversation. Was it like you don't have to
Yeah.
be elite to be considered in the MVP conversation. They're two totally separate things. totally separate topic. So, yeah, I think that's where you have to kind of.
I'll give you one better. Not even to use that 5-letter word elite. Let's just dumb it down a little bit more from that level and just say franchise QBs. I say if you look back 5 to 10 years ago, there were way more surefire franchise QBs in the league playing at I would say average to above average level. Whereas now, like you would say, Matt Ryan's he's not elite, but at that time he was a franchise QB. You know what I mean? Jared Goff at that time, franchise QB. Matt Stafford at that time, franchise QB. Maybe not elite, but Pete, like you didn't have a QB question. Where what I think we're seeing right now, and the trend is, I forget what I was listening to, but now that we've had this wave that Brady's the last one to where you have this transition. Like once he's gone, you got Mahomes, you got Allen, you got Burrow, you got Herbert, still questionable with him, in my opinion. Obviously, all the fucking talent in the world. But if I'm looking at
social media quarterback,
surefire, above average to elite franchise quarterbacks, it's probably those three right now. I would probably Jalen's there a little bit, maybe not a skill set, but just his intangibles. But outside of that, this is going to be a weed reference. Bitch, everybody else is a lot of mid. That's exactly what it is. A lot of mid to where you just don't know. Like, you have so many teams grasping at straws. Russell Wilson, 5-year, $242 million contract extension, coming off a bad year, even worse, $107 million guaranteed.
Dodge that bullet.
You got Zach Wilson, who may lose his job. Obviously, I don't feel as if Mike White has a better arm than Zach Wilson, but it's about efficiency. It's about hitting the things and making the offense run as it is. So he was a number 2 overall pick in 2021. Trevor Lawrence, up until this past week, still had some question marks for him, but he's shown it. He's shown flashes when he can do it, when he can't. But like Pete said before we came on, he was like, if you look at the last 2 years of quarterback drafts, in 2021, the quarterbacks drafted in 2021 and 2022. Have we ever seen that? I mean, listen, before Justin Fields got hurt with a separated shoulder, I don't give a shit if he was doing it with his legs or not. Save my fantasy seasons. Like, ridiculous. Like, this was a monster. And he still may try to play Sunday. I don't know why, but he may try to play Sunday. But he was trending upward, and where the offense was trending upward. So that's what you need to see. But some of these other guys, it's like, what are we doing?
Right.
You've seen regression. And it makes you look at the QB position. It's like, the only thing I would say to it is $200 million for a franchise quarterback ain't what $200 million for a franchise quarterback was 10 years ago. The caliber of player isn't the same. You see what I'm saying? The caliber of player isn't the same. And you just have to reevaluate what you're going to get at the QB position, because we don't have that next I mean, Caleb Williams is the next transcendent franchise QB. You see what I'm saying? That we've seen on paper so far. Could Jalen end up being that? He could, but at the same time, if you look, it just goes to show Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, right now is a top 5, top 8 quarterback in the league. Easy, right?
Yeah.
The players other teams who will want them to be their quarterback.
Yeah.
Pass. You see what I'm saying?
What's his name? Rank him in the offseason out of curiosity.
Who, Thims?
Yes.
He was
35th, I think.
He was in the second half.
I love Chris Sims every offseason. Look like a dumbass when it comes
27,
to
okay.
It's very funny.
27.
He was like 20.
So, but like it just shows you like what, you know. It could be, but it's like you just look at Tua, Herbert, Burrow, Lamar, Pat Mahomes. Obviously, I don't know why I'm saying his first and his last name. Jalen Hurts.
Homeboy.
You could throw Dak Prescott in there. I mean, fuck. Like, listen, this don't get me wrong, man. I'm glad he's having a resurgence. Fucking Geno Smith has found the fountain of youth.
How awesome was
How did you go?
He just figured out how to play football. Let's just be honest.
But like,
he got
10 years ago, this would never happen because there was another stockpile of talent reinvigorating the league. You don't have this wave anymore. And I think it's because of the fact of the college schemes are so dependent on scheme. Unless you come into the league in the NFL and you commit to similar scheme sets and similar skill sets of what that player had in college, it's never going to happen. You can't just pluck a player from college now. Can't anybody even tell me what Texas Tech's offense was at the time Pat Mahomes was there?
Air raid.
He transcended scheme. You see what I'm saying? And with Jalen Hurts, it's kind of, I would say it's not as bad, but it's kind of similar where they're taking a lot of the same concepts that he had in Alabama and what he's good at in his skill sets, which, like you said, Chucks, earlier, what coaches should do and be smart about it, and they're making it work. Now, can that player still grow? Of course that player can still grow. But just as you have to incorporate, I think you have to incorporate now more evaluating a player, especially at the QB position coming out of the draft, as to what scheme are they, what scheme fit can they run, like what offense can they run, what makes them good, how does that translate to the league? But we always use that, but I just think more weight is now carried on that. Where I think when even go back when Carson Wentz and Jared Goff was coming out, bitch, it didn't matter what your offense was. You see what I'm saying? Like we weren't sitting here saying like, oh, okay, well Carson, like this skill set, this no, the bitch can ball. You see what I'm saying? Like that's all it was. To where now it's like, hey, coach, run a quarterback, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. And I think also is evident of the fast success when you do give a young QB and you put him in the right situation, how quick that success can come. I think also is a byproduct of how teams now evaluate QBs coming into the league. While we see that mobile quarterback, like I said, I mean Bailey Zappi was the closest thing, and that didn't fucking work. You know, not Bailey Zappi. Who's the kid we drafted? Carson Strong. Didn't fucking work.
Didn't draft him.
You know what I mean? Like there's no that shit is gone. Mac Jones is the last one. You see what I'm saying? When you have this many,
might not be for longer.
No.
Well, how many? When you have quarterbacks in the league that's been 5+ years, 10+ years, and they're still not just getting starting positions, right? Not winning starting. These is getting traded for with real assets, changing hands, and they have value over other players already on the team. It's like what this wouldn't happen if this is 2006. It's not happening. It's not happening. So it amazes me how far I think the QB position, as far as or the evaluation of QBs, has declined in the last 10 to 15 years. Well, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, it's always
What a
very
pick.
difficult. Let's get some of the comments. Oh yeah, Davis. Who was that?
I think it was Jordan Poyer.
Yeah, it was Poyer.
Eagle,
Okay.
great Jordan Poyer.
EC1 football says Jalen MVP, and he also says that Lamar Jackson won MVP with his legs. But no, he won it with his arm too. It wasn't just his legs. It was, but everyone. Pitts over people says gotta win the next 4 games. Lose one, the Cowboys game Christmas Eve will mean everything. I think it's trending toward that way too. Like it's that Christmas game is going to be like
huge.
that will determine whether we get the 1 seed or the 5 seed. So it's gonna be crazy. Angry Bear says 1,000 yards more. So 1,000 yards more passing is ridiculous. As the only reason why I'm guessing he goes with Mahomes, or he follows it up says 1,000 yards more passing shouldn't be the only thing that gives Mahomes MVP, or else Dak should have it the last couple of seasons. And passing yards is all you need. But it's not too.
Did you not see that team with Cooper Rush operating? They was fucking winning games the same way.
Yeah. Marley
They're gonna
does say to Josh Allen really be part of anything that. I think at this point where Josh Allen's there are a lot of different schemes he could put in and he could be successful. I think it's reached that point.
He's in a different scheme than he was in last year.
I think he would have failed in Cleveland. That's just me.
What's up, Nate?
Sorry, I'm late. I guess I'm getting put in the corner. Getting put in the corner. Nobody wants to talk to me. What's going on, fellas?
I'm just rolling through comments, and I was going to get to you.
No, you're good. You're good.
Let's see. God, I don't even. We've got him say. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Should I trade Tua for James Conner or Tony Pollard at my flex? I already have Joe Burrow as my QB1. Tua
I'd be way
for
more. Is this a
Pollard.
keeper league? What are we doing?
I would assume it's just like a regular fantasy league.
I would think the better question is touchdowns 4 or 6 points for quarterbacks.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah. Yep. So, give us more. I'd say if it's just your standard 1 QB redraft, trade him for Pollard, not for Connor. I don't think for Connor is
Yeah, Connor. No.
it's worth it for. There was one more comment I wanted to get into. This one is this Hurts is a lot. Hurts is really good at judgment, but I don't think running QBs last long in the NFL. It's definitely going to take a toll on Hurts going forward.
But he doesn't even take hits like
Cam.
normal running quarterbacks.
Yeah, like Cam took a ton of hits. I mean, you still want to see Hurts take less hits than what he's getting, but I think that I think I disagree. I don't think running QBs is going anywhere. I think the mobile QB, like I said, the dual threat QB is here to stay. I don't think it's going.
They don't win though.
Soon.
That's the problem.
So
the problem is they don't win. Like, and when I say don't win, I'm not talking about regular season. They don't win the championship at the end. That's the problem with the mobile quarterback conversation.
So far, so here's the thing, but with the way that the league is trending, I tend to believe at some point one is going to win.
Eventually, sure.
QB is going to win one at because
for sure, eventually, but
the league is trending.
But it'll be one out of the last 10.
Yeah, but that's also 10. If you look back 10 years, the way the QB position was evaluated is completely different. I would be honest and say that I would still consider Joe Burrow a fringe mobile quarterback because, like a running quarterback who runs first or has run plays called for him, I think that's a little bit different. But I see where that's coming from, and I see where Nate's coming from because history, up to this point, this hasn't shown that can happen. But real quick to speak to, I can't say that, and I'm gonna say Nakeem comment.
Yeah,
is the fact that this is what also at the same time is if he doesn't last, he's gonna take a toll moving forward. You're not getting QBs in a second contract anymore. You got to if you take a bird's eye view, Russell Wilson maybe got 1 or 2 contracts. You name me another QB that's with the same team that got 5, 6 more plus years at 2 contracts out. They got the rookie deal, they got the extension. Even Matt Stafford got traded. I think the way the team going to start looking at these QB positions is 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years. And that's all. No more of that 7, 10 plus year shit. If that happens, that happens. I do not think that's going to be the norm anymore. And really with Jalen Hurts, it's like, okay, you got him on his rookie deal. You give him a 4 or 5 year extension. Bang, bang, boom. That's 7, 8 years of service. On to the next one. You see what I'm saying? Like,
no way.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know. I think you're gonna have examples both ways. I think depending on who the prospect is, but I mean, if you have a quarterback, it's hard for me to say comes out right. If Caleb Williams is everything we expect him to be, I have a hard time believing he's only going to be with his team for 8 years. I think they're going to lock him up for some. He's going to be on that team for 10 plus years. Now, do
you think Dak's going to be the quarterback of the Cowboys in the next 4 years?
No, but that's where I was alluding to next. Is I'm talking Williams as a generational talent. Okay, I expect him to be with his team for 10 plus years. But if you're talking about like the quarterbacks for that's Lions, like the fringe top 10, top 15 quarterbacks, I think that's where you get into what you're talking about. Where, those quarterbacks, I think you could.
But that's more than half the league. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about. You're talking about a select 5 to 6 few Where I'm talking about back in the day, I mean, there was always quarterback shuffling, but you would like Matt Ryan being with Atlanta for over almost 10 years. I don't think you're going to see that type of player anymore. You didn't. Matter of fact, I'll give you one better. Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill's in his second location. Marcus Mariota is what? His third location. See, it's already started that trend to where that
we're talking about bottom half quarterbacks.
But they was drafted in the first round. That's you missing my point, my brother. I'm saying that the outlier is the fact
I felt that when you said that.
Because I'm saying teams now are more gun shy to be committed to
It's
these.
like, I don't want to fight you, brother. I'm trying to talk. I felt every bit of that.
But I'm just saying, like, we're talking about maybe 1/3 of the quarterbacks in the league, if less than that. When you got 32 teams, we're talking about the top 8 may see 7 to 8 to 10 years. That leaves 20 other teams who want to be in that position, who are now going to be looking at the position differently and how they evaluate it. I don't think you're going to see the big run with. You're going to have your select few, but also I also think teams have seen, like, if we do this shit right, we can get a QB on a rookie deal, right? Then from there,
I think that's the other big. Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
build the
So
rest of
because then
they're so expensive.
Seattle went to shit when he had to pay Russ. You see what I'm saying? And you can kind of see San Fran is doing the same thing with Jimmy G. They trying to double down and get Trey Lance so that way they can have another elite player at a cheaper value. It's going to change. It's on. I don't know how it's going to change. Long term, it's going to start to change.
I mean,
yeah, no,
I get what you're saying for those mid tiers.
That's the most valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the money always talk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that we all know that. But I think the top, obviously the top tier, your top 10 are going to be around, unless there's an injury or something like that. Your top tier is going to be around. But when you talk about those middle tier guys, the Derek Carrs, the Ryan Tannehills, I mean, maybe even the Kirk Cousins you can put in there. Those are not. I don't think those are 10-year guys. You know what I mean? Max might be 10. You know what I mean? Max might be 10. But Dak, I think he's a 10-year guy. Because where are you going to move to? Right? Like on that team in 4 years, what do you know what I mean? He's still going to be winning 10 to 12 games a year. I mean, these guys are understanding how to play into almost their late 30s, 40s.
Well, and I wouldn't consider Dak like a running quarterback, has the question posed. I would consider Dak more of a mobile quarterback, more than I said. That's kind of leads into the question with Pro Fan Talk from Marcus, who was on before us. Define mobile and running QB. I think running QB is someone who you can design run plays for any type of quarterback. I think when he came in before the ankle injury, more fringe of a running QB, but I think Dak to me is a mobile QB. Like his first 2 years, I remember the one game he was trucking fucking linebackers and safeties into the end zone. That shit stopped real quick. Even before the injury. So to me, Dak is a mobile QB. I wouldn't consider him a running.
There's
QB.
not a lot of running quarterbacks though. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not like some because when I think running quarterback, I'm thinking Cam, I'm thinking Lamar, I'm thinking people you run like even Josh Allen would probably be a running quarterback. Like people like quarterbacks who run more than 10 times a game would be a running quarterback. And there's only a select few. So for us to start to separate the two between running and mobile, I think it's still too early in the game because there's not a lot of quarterbacks who run 10 times a game. You know what I mean? Like Mahomes might run 10 times a game, but he might not. I wouldn't consider Mahomes a running quarterback. They wouldn't do that with that caliber of quarterback. And
he's a mobile quarterback.
Is he mobile quarter? When we say mobile, just because he can move, you know what I mean? Like I think it's either a running quarterback or just a quarterback. I don't think we need the mobile.
You're taking the word mobile out of it.
Yeah, I don't think we need the mobile quarterback because was Steve Young a running quarterback?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, people argue that too because he had so many yards as a guy who could run and he had legs. So I think like would you consider Donovan a running quarterback?
To a point.
Early Donovan,
Early
yes.
on. Early Donovan.
Right, early on.
Early
But if you
Donovan.
look at his career,
Oh no,
would you put Donovan in that running quarterback?
no, but since
No,
Like
that's
he's
kind of when you take mobile out of it, that kind of leads me to where I say you need a quarterback that can be elusive within the pocket. Like I
who can
think
move enough.
every offense now you want to be able to bootleg in some direction, not this drop back there and sit back there and then step up in the pocket and move left to right. That's all well and good.
Well, you're saying the stationary pocket QBs,
Right.
like you in this NFL. I like scouts and evaluators agree still to this day about that trend, but I think for me, I fall into the category of if you can't move, you are not going to lie in today's NFL with how athletic these players are. You can't be a pure
Right.
pocket passer unless you're an elite pocket passer. Like you have to be really elite at it in order to survive. So I think for me, I've always said this. Like when I say dual threat, people throw out the term, the phrase a lot, and they always just assume they're me. Find a quarterback as someone who can beat you with both his legs and his arm. And when you had the running quarterbacks, when you had the running quarterbacks who were like who struggled as passers, they're not dual threats because they're not a threat to me. Wasn't a quarterback until this year because he could not beat you strictly with his arm when he. This year it's different. I think Josh Allen, his first couple of years in this league, was not a dual threat quarterback by my definition because he could not beat you with his arm when he needed to. That's the difference for me. And I think that a dual threat quarterback is going to win the Super Bowl at some point. They are the new prototype. But if you can't do one, if you're not elite at one or the other, you can't be in that in between. You can't be okay as a passer and okay as a runner in order for you to survive and win. You have to be able to do one or the other at an elite level or be able to do both at a good level where you can be a legitimate threat, if that makes sense. So to me, that's what I've always seen as the difference between all of that, all those phrases. Pete Young's
Yeah, like I said,
on it. He's about to go to.
yeah, it's a funny conversation for me because people think I'm a hater because I say mobile quarterbacks. No, it
The
is.
haterade.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it real because I have these conversations and I don't think mobile quarterbacks really win, and most of the mobile quarterbacks are black quarterbacks. So you can I fight that battle as it is, but I mean it's just the truth, and the black quarterbacks that I think are coming on, and taking over this league. I think you have to learn how to win from the pocket. You just have to. It's just it is what it is, and I'll stand by it still now that until we see it consistently, you still need a traditional quarterback. You still do, and that still wins in this league as of right now. It's a copycat league, always will be. We're seeing, like you said, the emergence of more mobile quarterbacks and more quote unquote dual threat quarterbacks, but until we see that mobile quarterback continuously get to the championship and win games. Because if you think about all the quarterbacks that had mobile that we would consider running quarterbacks, what did they have? Great rushing attacks and great defenses. And when I say great defenses, I'm talking about like Hall of
Yeah.
Fame defenses. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like Hall of Fame defenses. So that's the formula if you have a running quarterback. If you can't put that together, then more, 8 times out of 10, you're not going to get to the bowl. So we'll see. We'll see if Jalen can change that, right? Because we have a great offense, we have a great defense, we have a great team. Period. Aside for like special teams, we can't do dick on special teams.
What do you mean? We're great
Um,
at special teams. We're so good.
yeah, like it's just unbelievable what we can't do
We,
on
we should go
special
out and
teams.
sign Darren Sproles.
It's bad.
We used to be good at special teams, man.
We had one of the best in the league for
Yeah,
like
we should be
3-4
split
years.
as-
Yeah, like we used to be so good, and that
Yeah.
shit just fell off.
Yeah.
I
I
shit
don't
just
think it's
fell
been
out.
like really good since
We had
we
great coaching, right? I mean,
Coaching
even
with it.
Harbaugh. Going back to
Remember?
Harbaugh. I mean, Harbaugh. I can't even say his last name. Harbaugh.
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 It's that
Yeah.
brown. It's that brown one. I don't see that bottle up there in the corner.
Oh yeah. You see how it's light too, brother. You see how it's light. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Real
we
It
had
light.
to
was
have
full.
like
It was full at
we
one
used to have
point.
elite.
Chuck, what's up with your
So
computer,
pro
man?
fan talk. Me,
Yeah,
Yeah, man. You keep, like,
you're choppy.
The lag is real.
I'm chippy. I don't know. Yeah, lag is real.
it's like
Um,
that's like me on
pro
Fan
fan
Friday
talk.
lag.
Coach Marcus. Yo, this restream software is crazy. Yeah, he says in QBs that average 50 yards a game on the ground. I think that this comment really it sums up like what I kind of sums up what my point in a different way. Marley Coldberg says QBs run out of necessity. QBs have the offense designed for them to run. That's a short and sweet way to say it. Like it's
Mhm.
I think I agree with that too. Um,
Yeah.
he said the Molly Mall put Lamar into the running QB category. I don't.
Yeah,
Top of the
he's a
show, I
running
said
quarterback.
I think Lamar Jackson is a better than credit for. He's
You
not a
don't put him
running
as a
QB.
running
I think
quarterback, Chucks?
he's not.
When you lead your
I
team
think
in rushing yards, you're a running quarterback.
well, no. What I'm saying is I don't like putting him in the category where people think that that's the only thing he can do well. I think he gets
Oh no.
his passing
No.
ability
Yeah. No.
rated. That's what I'm saying. I don't like he's running, which is like best in the league at the quarterback position. That's fine, but they gloss it over and they act like he can't be a high level passer. He is a high level passer. He just doesn't have the offensive
He don't got no
coordinator
weapons. Yeah.
calls
Right.
He don't got no. He has no talent
weapons to
around him.
do so.
He has
Exactly. So
Deshaun
like
Jackson.
that's why I don't like. That's why I don't like him in being looked at as that. To me, he's a dual threat. He gets you both ways.
Yeah, no,
So,
I agree with you. He can beat you both ways.
yeah,
He doesn't have any weapons as you said. He has the tight end, but
Mhm.
he still doesn't have that high level. He hasn't played with a high level receiver yet at
He
all.
doesn't
Show
have a
No.
Devin
D5. He
DuVernay
doesn't have
some
AJ
respect.
Brown.
Well, I guess we'll see how he looks in Detroit next
what were
year.
you saying?
Bro, I'm telling you,
he'll look
I
fucking amazing in
listen.
Detroit. I'm
I
telling you
would
that right
love
now.
it. I would love it. I would love for that to happen.
remember we were
I
talking
would
about
put
that
money on
salary.
them making the
I love it.
playoffs right away.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
that'd be a great bet.
That running attack, that
absolutely.
defense, Jamison Williams. Oh my god.
Yeah, you got Jamison Williams coming back. You
Oh
got
my
Amon-Ra
god.
St. Brown.
Yeah, that would be
How about
insane.
we actually look
Yeah, that would be
what like
insane.
Williams looks like
Um,
when he comes back first?
He'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm about to say he'll be fine, bro.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He's
Okay.
young.
He's got wheels. He'll
the,
be all right. Yes, sir.
why don't you answer the poll question before we move on? Before we move on to the second quarter, what would your answer to the poll question? We're saying the poll question is Jalen Hurts should be the front runner for MVP. Agree or disagree?
Agree. Any team that has only one loss at 10-1, I actually just talked about this earlier today. If you look at his numbers, he's got about I think 25, 2,700 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, 3 picks, and almost 600 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns. And I compared it to the Lamar year. So Lamar, when he won it, I think he had 3,500 passing, 36 touchdowns, under double digit picks. I forget where it was. And then he had 1,200 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. I think that he's on par with those numbers. He might not get to the passing, but I really believe they're going to go 16-1. Just to solidify my talk about them going undefeated. So, Thomas Arnone, if you're listening, buddy,
Wow.
I'll have something for you. Come if they go 16-1 with all your fucking all your goddamn slander. Yeah, no, I think they go 16-1 because I still don't see a loss on their schedule. So when you go 16-1, it's just like it's how is it not? And if Patrick Mahomes goes out and throws for 40 something touchdowns, 4,500 yards, maybe 12 picks, that's what Patrick Mahomes does average, right? That's where he is. So he didn't do anything that to me would give him the MVP. Um, and I have to agree to the poll here, man. I haven't been a Jalen Hurts fan since the beginning, and I think he's won over not only me, every fan that wears Philly green in this city. We're ready to move forward with him as our franchise quarterback, and for those who believe him in the front, two two claps and two snaps. Kudos to you for predicting that because I definitely was not on that bus or not on that train. So I'm on the back of the bus on that one. But yeah, no, I have to agree to the poll, brother. I think he should very well be the front runner for the MVP. I think the odds don't say it. They're going to give it to Mahomes because the numbers are sexy, the name is sexy, but Hurts is making this shit look freaky, as he said. So I think. I think if they finish 16-1, it's kind of hard not to give him that MVP because he's the reason they went 16-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll lose 2 games just because that last game will just be a throwaway game that like Minshew plays.
Well, the fucking Dallas game might be a throwaway game if they win up into Dallas.
You need Dallas to fuck up though.
Yeah,
No. So if we win the next three games, the Dallas game is irrelevant. Like there's no it's not it doesn't matter. We could lose that game and win out, and we still win the division, and we could possibly obviously win the conference at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's a really interesting thing at this early in the game to actually start thinking about playoffs and seeding in number 1 seeds, because I think in that locker room, I think that's what Sirianni is saying. First, let's do all our things individually. Then let's come together as a team and be good coaches, good players, good assistants, etc. And then let's go out and win one game after another. So they've done every 3 steps of that. Now it's like, okay, the division is tight. What do we need to do to win the division? That's the first and foremost. You know what I mean? Let's win the division. And then after we either win the division, the division, and then let's go win the conference. So what are those steps? And then after the conference, obviously playoff, Super Bowl, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what I mean? Like next, if I'm Sirianni, I'm looking at how do we win the division, to lock up the division. What's that going to take to do that? And they could lose to Dallas and beat everybody else and be fine. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting a couple next 3 weeks because we have Titans coming up. We have the Giants, and who's after the Giants?
Bears, isn't it?
Yeah, the Bears.
I think it is the Bears, yeah.
Yeah, the Bears. So we have Tennessee, the Giants, the Bears, and then that Dallas game on Christmas. So when you think about that, we could have a lot of things wrapped up before we even see Dallas in December. So that game could be almost irrelevant if you think about it.
It could be irrelevant, and it could be in the world. So
yeah,
you're watching. Don't fuck up my Christmas.
Go one way or the other.
Really
fuck up my Christmas.
Oh my god! Please don't.
And that's hard. And then you guys are right. That's hard to say that a game against Dallas is irrelevant because every game matters against Dallas.
Especially when they've been that good too. That's the crazy thing.
But if you think about it, if we're going to Dallas and we're 13-1,
who gives a shit?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, like, that's where you're at.
I keep hearing everyone talk about it, and they're like, it matters. This is an important game. I said this like 3 weeks ago. I said, I think Minshew plays that game. That's how like fucking not worried about that game I am, and how I'm not worried about this team right now. That we could be in such a good shape that like Minshew might play that game because it's just like it doesn't matter.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't want to jinx it yet because we could end up losing this Sunday, and then all of a sudden it matters. So
let's get past the Titans first, and then
let's get to the Titans. So let's transition to the second quarter of the show. Before we do, Mr. Pete Evans, can you tell us who our sponsor for the second quarter is
Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, 2 locations serving Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's our doc making yours. Occasional visitor on the flagship show on Sunday night. He pops his head in every once in a while. You go visit him at specializedphysicaltherapy.com.
all right. Real quick reactions to or feedback, takeaways from the Eagles' victory against the Packers. For me, I guess my biggest takeaway is actually I don't know what my biggest takeaway is, so someone else go.
For me, I'm tired of hearing all this bullshit about we don't look good, we in trouble. Listen, bitch. They had 3 possessions on our side of the 50. 3. Short field 3 times. Don't get me wrong. Stupid shit. We got to clean that up. Last week with the Colts, heard the same shit. Run defense. Jonathan Taylor had 60 yards on 1 drive. Bitch had 25 the rest of the game. Want to hear that shit? Listen, we play our A game. Can't nobody fuck with us. We put up 40 points and threw the ball for 163 yards. 40. Just want to throw that out there. 4-0. A crooked number.
Yep.
I'm not concerned. Not at all. This week's gonna be tough though. But from the Packers game, it kind of went how I thought it would go. And listen, we was up 14, and then Aaron Rodgers stepped in some shit. It's Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Mm-hmm. He was going to find some shit, and then once again, right after we had the AJ Brown fumble, Bishop takes some ball security classes. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, dog, they holding you up just to rip it. Like, fall down, do something. You see what I'm saying? So was that 2 out of the last 3 weeks he's done that shit. So that shit that's like that can't happen. If you want to get to where you need to be, they got to clean that up. They do that. The only thing they can beat them is themselves. When they lost, the one blemish that we have, Washington did their part, but we beat ourselves.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to go back to, I think it was either Nate or Pete's point, kind of going back to Jalen running out of necessity per se. It wasn't because he was there were a couple design runs here and there, but I mean he took what was open. He had a lot of wide open lanes that he ran for 30, 35, 25, and that's why his rushing numbers were insane. Because early in the first quarter he had 100 yards, and I think 2 of the 3, or I think 3 or 2 were both for 30 to 25 apiece. So. But I think my biggest takeaway for me, it shows that, and we've seen Jalen Hurts this year really go in not a gunfight per se, but like a shootout with another quarterback, and that's basically what tonight was. It was or the other night was a shootout. But I think the big thing for me, and I always say this, when you have the ball and you're going into halftime, I need you to get down the field and score. And that pass to Quez Watkins that he threw.
Huge.
Is not getting talked about. I don't know why it's not getting talked about as much as it
I
should,
talked about it. I broke it down in my video this week. So
I know you did. I know you did, and I'm happy you brought it up. But it's just unbelievable to me. Like, the guy's just like, you know what? Quez is right down there. Let's see how it is. And oddly enough, it was against Rasul Douglas. Who would have thought? He got burnt twice on Sunday, one against AJ Brown and then Quez Watkins, which was a beautiful back shoulder, by the way. And there was another video I saw on Twitter. There was another video on Twitter that I saw where there was a fan that was right in the corner of the end zone, and there was a fan right by him, I guess. He's like, "Why are you throwing it?" And then 2 seconds later, he hits the touchdown. But it's just, Jalen can hit you in a bunch of ways. That's my biggest takeaway. He's not just a running quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback, I'll say that. But he can hurt you with his arm. And he showed us a lot this year. And he's proven me wrong as far as me questioning his passing ability, and he's shown me that he can throw the ball with the best of them. That's my biggest takeaway.
Yep. Go ahead, Mr. Young.
So I want to just throw it out there. I actually did my own research this week. I consulted with my buddy, Deshaun Kaiser, and we did some research together, and we determined that Aaron Rodgers sucks.
Wow. That's what you came out of that? I thought you was actually going somewhere with that.
So did I.
No. I just wanted to take a pot shot at Aaron Rodgers because it's so much fun. I love how much he sucks. I love the fact that we finally beat Green Bay. Obviously, like I don't understand people like bitching and moaning about how we didn't look good. We dropped 40 points on fucking Aaron Rodgers. Like we dropped, like obviously they're struggling right now, but it's just like they're still the fucking Packers. Like they could literally win like 5 straight games and like get into the playoffs. Like,
right. And the crazy thing is to echo that is we put 40 points up on their defense.
yep, they
Like
have a solid D.
the defense was supposed to be the part that held them together. You know what I mean? So we put up 40 on them, a 40 spot throwing less than 200 yards when Dallas put up only 28.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't know what else more people want. Now, the one thing I will say about Jalen and his arm is there will become a point at a crucial time. I'm gonna need my man to throw it in the cover 2 in a tight window. All like his place throws accuracy. I'm not worried about that. But all right, what was the play? All right, so we'll go Josh Allen Thursday, Thanksgiving. Josh Allen early. Detroit takes the lead. First play, that rope he threw to Stephon Diggs.
Cool.
There may come a time where you can't do that, but I'm gonna need you to do something close,
something like that. Yeah,
something similar. Yeah. I don't need Frosted Flakes. You can give me the great value.
I mean, who did he have 3 touchdowns against?
Who?
AJ Brown. I forget.
Steelers.
Yeah, like if you were looking at the windows that he was throwing in that, like that was tight. Those tight ass throws.
He's had several tight window throws this year, so yeah, I believe he can do it. And the thing is, like, he doesn't have the rocket that obviously Josh Allen does. Well, I mean, not a lot of people do, but his arm strength isn't elite, but his ball placement is so good. And I think that he can as long as the timing is right. And I've said this all the time. As long as the timing, anticipation is right, and the ball placement's fine, you can fit a ball in a tight window. Now, your margin of error is going to be a lot smaller than someone like a Josh Allen who has a rocket, but it's there. You can do it, and I think he can. I think he will, and I look forward to him showing it. He was doing it earlier this year. Again, I said this at the top of the show. I'm repeating myself, but he was doing it early this year. People forget so easily. Like the first few games of this year, he was passing the ball at a high level.
Yep.
I don't know why people forget that. Like, it was insane how well he was passing the ball. So I
think people they're just being ridiculous and reactionary, and they're like, "Oh my god, he didn't throw for 300 yards." Like, honest question, go look at what Josh Allen's done in the last 6 games: 7 TDs, 7 interceptions. Like, he's been shaky as shit. Like, imagine if Hurts looked, because everyone talks about how amazing Allen is and how he's an MVP candidate. If Jalen Hurts looked like Josh Allen has in the last 6 games, I'd be fucking like petrified going into every fucking game.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh Allen had this stretch of not the last couple games, but like before that. Yeah, he didn't look good. He was turning the ball over left and right. So yeah, he's had his shaky performances, and he's played himself out of the MVP conversation. So I think what I'll add is there's another person that's proven doubters wrong this year, and I'm wearing his T-shirt. So Booby. Again, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get a contract extension with us. I don't know if he'll be back after this year. I'd say that the chances are most likely he's not back next year. But if this is his last year with the Eagles, man, he's going out with a bang. He's going out with such an impressive season, and
he's making so much money for himself right now, bro.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm happy for him. He's just running so well. Like when I was watching the film, there was literally just one run in the first quarter where I was like, yeah, that was a bad decision. Every other play, he's been making good decisions with good vision. Like he's so improved, and he's running so tough. So we just gotta keep praying he stays healthy, and knock on wood. We need him because you've seen the drop off. You've seen the drop off when he's on the field. You see the drop off. Like Kenny, I messaged you guys. I was watching the film, and Kenny Gainwell, like, I know the coaches love him. I know he scored a few touchdowns this year, but all he does is run straight. Like he literally, that's all he does. He just runs straight. You talk about a running back who's benefiting from great offensive line blocking. Yeah, that ain't so much Miles Sanders. That's Kenny Gainwell. He's just running. He just runs straight. That's all he does.
Good
He
as
doesn't,
long
he
as he
doesn't
gets
create.
there.
He doesn't create any yards. He doesn't break many tackles. He just runs straight. Like that's all he does. It's insane. Like he's
He
because
does
I
what
like
he's
him too.
supposed to
So
do.
I'm also getting on myself because I was wrong. I've been wrong about him so far too. But man, like all the people that wanted to proclaim him as the future running back over Miles Sanders, yo, like it's laughable right now. Like get him off the field, activate Trey
Where
Sermon.
the fuck is
Like
Trey Sermon at?
yeah,
That's the
like
real
I'm
Not
getting
question.
tired of
playing.
him being inactive. Play Trey Sermon. I'm so sick and tired. So sick and tired of getting it, and it's not like he's just getting random snaps. He's getting third and fourth down reps, guys. Like crucial third and fourth down reps. He's in there, and I'm
He's
just like, get him
delivering.
out, get him out. Like if you don't want to put Miles in, put Scott. Like Scott has shown he can be very reliable. Scott has shown he can break some tackles. Like he can do something.
Sure, when we're playing the Giants. Yeah, I want to play him when we play the Giants.
Yeah,
No,
but he's a what do you call it? He's a good running back. Boston Scott's a good running back. Like I know Nate says it all the time about Jalen Rager, but Boston Scott, he's a yard eater. That's what he does.
yeah,
Before you know it, he'll get you 5 yards in a second.
he didn't have as many carries as Gainwell, but he broke more tackles against the Packers than Gainwell did.
Yeah,
Like it's insane. Like Scott deserves to be over
absolutely.
Gainwell. It frustrates me so much. It frustrates me so much. I'm like I don't see what they see in him. I just don't like. Right, I hope that Gainwell becomes really good, but right now he's not really good. He's just not. He's not really good. Like oh my god! Like just get him off the field. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Really, it really is. So yeah, that's my rant. Like get him off the field. I've had enough.
After that, I hope they play Gainwell more, honestly.
Well, sure, true. Let's transition on to the third quarter. Let's talk about the Titans. But before we do, third quarter is brought to you by Alonzi Travel, specializing in creating the vacation of your dreams. And that's to Disney World. So you want to go to Disney World, hit up Andy and Alonzi Travel. Tell them in this very ring sent you. Alonzi, let's go. All right. So Eagles Titans, Sunday. Discuss what are your biggest matchups you're looking forward to? What do you anticipate? What are the big keys to the game? What's it going to take for this Eagles to pull out this win? This is a really tough matchup, guys, because we don't match up well against their offense. Our defense right now does not. So what's it going to take for us to pull out the win?
Jordan Davis to just sit on Demery.
It's going to take efficiency and grit and toughness because the Vrabel team is not. They're not going to go away. They're going to be fucking tough. And I really think I hope I wish Nate was still here. This is the Tennessee's line. The Eagles are getting the home 3 just for that, but they're showing you at plus 4.5. At 4.5, it's
basically
Tennessee's line. This is tough. This is going to be a tough one because they're just a gritty team. They are a very resilient team, and you need to be hitting on all cylinders because you're not going to stop Derrick Henry. You got to contain him. I mean, Traylon Burks is starting to get a little hot. So for me, I don't want to say so much our offense versus our defense. I really think it's our offense versus their defense because you got Jeffrey Simmons, who is Fletcher Cox Jr. He's a fucking monster.
He's so good.
But they really don't. Their pass rushers, they lost Harold Landry, Bud Dupree. You know what I mean? Kind of taking a step back. I think they got a couple corners out. Their safeties are good, but once again, it's just being efficient with the ball, being efficient on offense, being not turning the ball over. Can't be doing the fumbles. We can't have that. You can't.
Nope.
You only get away with that so much. You only get away with that so much before it bites you and costs you a game. But yeah, that's for me. It's our offense versus their defense.
I think for me, it's going to be a matchup of the and this goes for both sides of the football for both teams, is going to be the line of scrimmage. That's what this is going to boil down to. Who's going to control the line of scrimmage? Who's going to slow down Derrick Henry? I mean, all the Eagles really should pay attention to, or as far as film, hopefully they looked at this week, is what the Cincinnati Bengals did and what Denver did against Derrick Henry. Because Cincinnati held him to 38 yards and Denver held him to 53. So they did something right there. But if you can slow down Derrick Henry in some respect, because you have to factor him into the receiving game as well, that's also a concern. So depends on who's what linebacker is going to be covering him. But obviously, I think the big thing is going to be A.J. Brown, of course. This is a game he's had marked on his calendar. He's not happy about Tennessee. Not happy about Tennessee moving on from him, not wanting to pay him. So he's going to try and prove him wrong. He's feeling a lot better.
Too much bullet support material and what he said.
I mean, it's just like that competitive juice. I think really more than anything, just because it's his former team. He was drafted there. He has a special relationship. I'm sure he's still close with a lot of his former teammates in Tennessee. So, and I really don't think he wanted to leave. I don't think he did. I know, obviously, on draft night we were all excited, and then we saw the video of Jalen Hurts FaceTiming AJ and that whole thing. But I think when it comes down to it, he didn't want to leave, and we saw Mike Rabel's reaction when he found out AJ was traded. So I think there's a lot of not a lot of, like, I'm not going to say animosity between him and the Titans, because I don't think there is. But whenever you go up against your former team in any capacity, you want to show them up, and you want them to be like, wow, can't believe we let this guy go.
Yeah.
Bruno has given us homework.
Yay, where is it here?
So he says he would like us to answer this question. So a couple minutes ago, A2D Radio, all social fam,
all right, let's
put out, I said, rank these QBs 1 through 4. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa.
All right, here we go. Hold on. Mr. Pete Young, if you want to talk about Eagles Titans first real quick, and then we'll get into the homework that Mr. Bruno gives us.
I mean, honestly, I'm not really worried about any facet of the game other than stopping Derrick Henry. I'm cool with whatever their loser wide receivers do, as long as they stop Derrick Henry. Like, you need to load the box, fine. You need to build the Great Wall in front of the line, that's fine too. I don't really care. Just like, put some potholes in the. I don't give a shit. Like, just stop Derrick Henry and we're Gucci.
I think what the Eagles need to do is they need to get back to what similar to what they did against Jonathan Taylor, obviously, but they really need to look what Jake said. What the Bengals and the Broncos did, they crowded the line of scrimmage. They put 8+ in the box and said, "Run, go ahead, run." So. Yeah. I really hope Gadden does that. I want to say, maybe not every play, obviously, but put 8 in the box. Tell them, hey, we've got man on the outside. What are you going to do? And see if they can run on us that way. That's what I would do on defense. They don't have any really wide receivers outside Traylon Burks that really scares me. So, like, I feel comfortable doing that. Now, on the other side of the ball, we might have some issues running the ball, but I think even though they have a really good run defense, our run offense is the best in the league. And remember all the times that we went up against an elite run defense in the past, except for the Bucs in the playoff, like, we ran on them. We ran on those elite run defenses. So let's run on them. Let's see if we can run on them. And then I think we can really capitalize on the passing game. And I think at the end of the day, the player of the game is going to be A.J. Brown. I think after he's had a lackluster 3 games in terms of he's turned the ball over to some capacity. You know what I mean? The dropped reception and then 2 fumbles, 2 straight weeks. And then obviously not being 100% last week against the Packers. I think he's ready to go off. I think he will have multiple touchdowns. I think he'll have over 100 yards receiving. I think he'll be the player of the game. I think that's the part of the Titans game where we're really going to attack and exploit. Because of what the Titans do well, they do really well. But if you can attack them where they're weak, they're very weak there, and they can be
Yeah.
had. They can be absolutely had in those areas of the game, and I think the coaches, I think the Eagles will absolutely do that. Um,
Real quick,
I
I am worried about their tight end versus our linebackers. That bitch is a fucking monster already. The kid from
Yeah.
Maryland. He's
He's
yeah.
very good. He's very, very good.
He's
Yes.
good. Yeah, I hear you. It'll be close. If you want me to be honest, I would not be so like. I'll pick the Eagles to win. I don't know about a final score, but I think it's going to be so narrow. I think we could like win by 1 or 2 points, honestly. And I think it would not surprise me if the Titans did pull this out. If the Titans, I wouldn't be surprised one bit. So this is going to be very tough, and I am not overly confident going into this Sunday, but I still have faith. So
Okay.
all right.
All right.
So Mr. Brodo says. So the question is, like what Pete said, rank the quarterbacks 1 to 4. You've got Hurts, Herbert, Burrow, and Tua.
Tua.
So who wants to go first?
Ugh.
I'll go first. I already know my order.
Okay.
1's going to be Burrow, 2 is going to be Herbert, 3 is going to be Hurts, and 4 is going to be Tua.
Okay. Mine's the same as yours, just I have the first two flips. So my first one's going to be Herbert, Burrow, Hurts, then Tua.
I'm shocked, Jacob. He's from LSU.
Yeah,
I'm aware. I know.
See, because I think something for me, this is super big, is where I'll talk about intangibles. And I talked about this before when we compare like Holliberry to Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Burrow 1 just because I think he kind of has similar intangibles. I'm going to go Jalen 2.
I like it. I like it. I don't agree, but I like it. If I were to change mine, it wouldn't be Burrow and Herbert switching. It would be Hurts and Herbert. That's where it's the closest between the 4. So
it's really just because obviously I know Herbert's a better arm, better thrower, has a better arm, better passer. Listen, Herbert probably gets me 30 yards instead of 50 yards on that wide open run. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, and I know Herbert played in the playoffs. It's just, dude, Jalen and his intangibles to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this dude grew up as a coach's son.
Right.
He knows how to be resilient, how to persevere, how to tackle adversity. I'm just something in my heart is just saying go Hurts 2. Out of those 4, Hurts 2, because I just feel like if I'm in a pinch, like Justin Herbert just don't have that. We saw it on Sunday Night Football. Yeah, they gave him the lead, but you gave Pat Mahomes way too much damn time, bitch.
Yep.
Way too much time. It's just, I mean, and 2 is just he's doing it so far this year. I've seen more. And it's just, I don't know. If Tua was I swear, if Tua was right-handed, I don't think it would be as bad. I just think visually it just does something to me.
I completely agree.
So.
Brodo has the same ranking as me. Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, Tua, but there's a chance this whole list is upside down by the end of February.
Oh, absolutely.
Possibly. I don't know. Yeah. I still am really high on Burrow. I love Burrow.
So do I.
He's not as flashy because he doesn't have elite tools, but
he gets it done.
He doesn't have a weakness. I'll say that.
Exactly.
He
he says he thinks it's a very good chance we get an Eagles Dolphins Super Bowl.
I think that is a definite possibility.
You know what's funny, right? I thought about that today too. I'm like, you know what? Just think about the storyline. The guy that Jalen Hurts got benched for ended up winning the championship. Ended up being the reason that he transferred from Alabama to Oklahoma, and now they're facing off. It's perfect.
You know, if we play the
Absolutely
Dolphins,
perfect.
if we play the Dolphins in the Super Bowl, I am absolutely picking us because we match up well against them, especially defense versus. If you want an example of a game where Jonathan Gannon's scheme comes into play and really would shine, it's against a team with that much speed. Why? Because we don't give up the big play, bitch. We don't give up the big play. So all of these people that are complaining about playing soft coverage, playing back, playing all this zone coverage, playing quarters, playing too deep. You play the Dolphins, that scheme is going to shine. And I'm picking I would absolutely pick the Eagles. I think they also would not be able to deal with our running attack. So I absolutely matchup wise, it works in our favor if we play the Dolphins in Super Bowl. I'm just saying that now. Timestamp it, book it, December 1st, because if it's the Super Bowl and that is the matchup, you look this clip back up. It was a 126 mark on December 1st. I said that. Just saying.
All right.
Bruno says, right now I have Eagles versus 49ers and Chiefs versus Dolphins as the final four. I think I would agree to that.
Oof.
I think
I
Bruno
got
and
I got a sneaky feeling it's going to be Eagles Cowboys in the NFC Championship game.
Nah, fuck that. Eagles Niners. Cowboys still stuck in the play. And this doesn't have to do with the 49ers. Notice to what I said. The Cowboys will choke in the play. It doesn't have to do with the Niners.
Sure. Yeah.
It's the Cowboys. The Cowboys will still find a way to choke in the playoffs. That's why. Bruno said, I think the Dolphins could beat the Chiefs because of time possession and keeping Mahomes off the field. Can you imagine that? Tyreek versus his own team, too. Oh, my God.
It's great.
Yeah, but the Dolphins can score so quick.
They can score
they can.
because of all that speed.
So much speed.
And then they get smoked by us 2 weeks later.
Yes, please.
I wouldn't make it through a Cowboys playoff week.
To be honest, I don't think I would either. My nerves would be like through the roof.
I think I would have to
not.
like. Oh my God! Yeah, I think I'd be so bipolar. Like I'd be screaming and hyped 1 second, but then the next second I'd be like crawled up in the corner, like, oh my God, I can't take this. So, yeah, that would be a very, very difficult week for us. Anything else, Eagles Titans, you guys want to cover before we get to the last part of the show?
Nah.
Good. All right. Let's have some fun. Let's go to No Huddle, and before we do, let's get to our final sponsor of the game, and I'm going to say it's Gleason's Bar. Mr. Pete Evans, what they got for us?
6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, PA. You already know, promo code A2D for 10% off dining, takeout, or online. Good steaks, good subs, good time, good spirits. Go check them out if you're in the area. Tell them A2D sent you.
Anything? There were a couple, before we get into non-football talk, there were a couple of football topics I did want to talk about. I don't know if you guys had anything before I kind of refresh my memory. I know we had the Thanksgiving Day games that went on and everything. So if you guys didn't have anything football-wise.
I'm just...
So Go ahead.
No, I really don't have anything. I'll chime in if somebody has something.
But I think mine was it had to do with Jalen Hurts and his potential extension, because there was a rumor going around that the Eagles are already talking behind the scenes about possibly giving Jalen Hurts like $50 a year. And I'm seeing all these comments, everyone being like, "Oh, this is where we're going to fall apart. We give him the contract; it's over. Is he worth the $50 million? We shouldn't pay him $50 million. He's only worth this much. Like, what are we doing? What are we worried about?" That's my big thing. Everyone's worried about like all the money, and I understand. Like, if you look at past history with other teams, I understand it. But we have a cap wizard as our GM, So that I'm not worried about. And plain and simple, this is the market. You can't change the market.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, you can't change the market. I mean, you gave the Cardinals gave Kyler Murray, I think like 235 or something like that, and it's bitten them in the ass. Which, and again, I understand people's reservations and their concerns, but I'm not worried with Jalen Hurts. I don't have those questions about commitment and worrying about him playing Call of Duty or anything like that. Like, I'm not worried. like I can give Jalen $50 million and be like, all right, win me some games and win me a playoff and bring me a championship. I'm not worried. Like with Kyler, I'm just like, Like the past couple of years, even before he got the deal, I wasn't like really excited about Kyler Murray. But with Jalen Hurts, it's I don't know. Like I don't know if it makes sense, but it's different compared to the Kyler Murray situation. It's completely different. And if they give him $50 million or close to $50 million a year, so be it.
That's the going rate, man. Like we sat here, we could take a look 5-10 years ago. Look what the price of the iPhone was. Look at it now. Understand? Like anything, like it's just the market's going to dictate what the going rate is going to be for talent at that level.
Absolutely.
So 50 million is not. You got to look at 50 million as what it was when QBs were making 25 million.
Right.
Like the numbers getting bigger, but the money is being made is also bigger, and it's a reflection of the cap. The QB at a high value is always going to be the same percentage of the cap against the cap as it's always been.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Smaller cap, smaller salary. You know what I mean? Larger cap, larger salary. That's just the going rate for a franchise QB. Be happy that you fucking found one.
Yeah, seriously.
Other teams are still out there looking. Okay, so you don't want to pay $50 million. What's the alternative?
Right. You keep him for another year, and then the price tag gets even larger.
Right. Yeah.
That's your option.
Yeah. Then then you're looking at paying him $60. So Howie does okay when it comes to contract extensions. Like look at the Carson Wentz one. Was it the right player? No. But look at the cost. At the time, it was pretty hefty. But then right after that, there was other guys. You got to think about it. Like okay, so Jalen Hurts may get 40 to 50 million a year, 200 million overall, over 100 million guaranteed. What do you think Lamar Jackson's going to get?
Well, and that's another thing too, to where you're almost racing against the clock to be that first team in the offseason that extends your quarterback because
you want to set
everything else is going to set the market after that.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So you want to react to the market. You want to set the market.
Exactly. And the last thing you want is to get in the contract dispute with your potential franchise quarterback to where his manager's like, well, Lamar just got this, so we want something a little more than that. Based on the year.
That's when I would politely say, if I'm Howie, Lamar has also won an MVP. You have not, sir.
Right.
So far.
I mean, could he win it? Yeah. Could he win it? He could win it this year.
If I'm Jalen and I win the MVP, I just walk into Howie's room with a blank check.
They'd be like, pay me.
Howie walks into Jalen's room with a bunch.
Yeah, I knew what he meant.
Why would Jalen bring his own check? He's not paying.
Because he wants to cash you right there, man.
Baby.
It's like write a number and add like 14 more zeros.
Yeah, right.
On Howie's check, not Hurts's check.
Well, really, Lori's check.
Yeah, right.
Lori's check.
Yes,
yeah, Lori's check.
Jeffrey will pay that check.
Oh, I have another one, but Chuck, if you want to go, continue.
No, I was just going to bring up one of my favorite games this past week was the Jaguars-Ravens game.
Okay.
And I think we saw the coming out party of Trevor Lawrence.
I completely
There
agree.
were several throws, man, where I'm just like, oh, that's why he was number one.
That's why
he was the number one pick, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just that drive. Just that last drive.
Insane. And we all knew, I think you ask any Eagles fan when before the Jags even got the ball on that final possession, we all could have told everyone that if they score a touchdown, they're going for two.
Yeah,
we all knew it was coming. We all knew.
I mean, it's good catharsis because remember in 2016 he went for two, he missed it
against the Ravens. Yep. Crazy. It's crazy. So yeah,
it is crazy.
I am so happy for them, and I can't wait till Calvin Ridley comes back next year, and they have a true number one. Like
Yeah.
that's going to be great. So I am very happy. This just goes to show like you got to be patient. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not always it's not always going to progression isn't linear is one of my favorite phrases I've always heard when it comes to
Yeah,
scouting.
like if he
Progression
didn't
isn't
have
linear.
Urban Meyer, like let's say he just had like a normal like everyday coach and like he was still this like up and down, would people give him the leeway he's been getting, or is it just because Urban Meyer was like literally the worst coach in the history of professional football ever?
I think it's regardless, even if he didn't look great last year without Urban Meyer, you still have to be patient. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna it, fans are too impatient these days. Like it
Mm-hmm.
takes time sometimes. Like look at some we talked about Geno Smith. If I go to the running back position, how many late bloomers are there? Right now we're
Oh
looking
yeah. Yep.
Samaje Perine for the Bengals looks so much better than I ever thought he would be.
I've been calling his praises for years.
Yeah, like
Love Samaje.
progression isn't linear. I mean, let's go years back. Remember Justin Forsett? How old was he until when he broke
Yep.
out? Like you get these late bloomers sometimes because like it just takes a while. Raheem Mostert was on the practice squad, a special teams guy, until a couple years ago when he burst onto the scene as a starting
Mhm.
running back. Like it takes time, so sometimes, and it's not always going to be right away.
Right.
That being said, on the flip side, it's also very difficult to be patient with a young quarterback when he's a jerk and a prick. And I think
Dave's trying to
you
fuck my
guys know who
mom.
I'm talking about. He plays QB for the Jets, or he did, and he was on the bench, and it was so funny seeing Mike White
Oh, he was so
tear it up,
angry.
and then seeing
He was so
Zach
mad.
Wilson on the bench, looking like Anakin, like a depressed Anakin.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I'm
Fucking
not running
sand.
off Zach Wilson. Let me be clear. I'm not running off Zach Wilson just yet. He's too talented to write off. He's got so much physical talent, but he does have to grow up. He's got to mature and grow
Yeah.
up. And
Yep.
if he ever does, then he can still be a really good quarterback. But right now, like I think this is good for him. This is good. This is a slap in
Jennifer
the
Coolidge can help become a man.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyways, but yeah, it was really funny seeing what the Jets could they have just even like a capable
They just need a
quarterback.
Mark
confident quarterback
Sanchez.
play. That's all.
What were you saying, Pete?
They just need competent quarterback play.
Yeah, a
Their
competent quarterback.
defense is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Time some butt fumble.
It's so good. It's
Yeah,
so
do
good.
you see what actually happens when you pass to Elijah Moore? Like, like this is why he was
Yep.
so mad because he's actually good, and you're not targeting him. Throw
Right.
him the ball.
That and Garrett Wilson, you got a competent offense.
Garrett
I mean,
Wilson's phenomenal.
It's just Did James Robinson get hurt there or no?
He was a healthy scratch, surprisingly, which is weird because the week before he played pretty well.
Mhm.
So that was very surprising. I think I read that it was more of like a he was Salah was trying to what's the phrase that people use when they bench their starting goalie in hockey to get a spark. He was trying to get a spark from the team.
To
Oh,
reinvigorate,
Yeah.
to reinvigorate the team.
Yeah, reinvigorate. Yeah. So that was surprising to me. I didn't think James Robinson was bad in this game. So we'll see if he's active next week. But yeah, those are the two games that I really wanted to talk about real quick.
Okay.
Anyone else football wise? I do have some non-football stuff I wanted to.
Well, it's just the whole Odell drama. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's that.
yeah.
So, real quick, and I just don't feel comfortable not talking about this before we head out. The Washington Commanders.
I think you going.
The Washington Commanders.
Fuck
Oh, okay, no, you're not.
A couple of days ago,
Well, I don't know about this.
revealed a statue, quote unquote,
statue.
of former all-time great Redskins, now Commanders, Sean
Yeah.
Taylor. Looks like a mannequin, a wiry mannequin
With
a
Reebok,
helmet,
Adidas, and Nike.
wearing Reebok pants, gloves he never wore, and soccer cleats. Like, it's not even like a statue like Pat Tillman has with the Cardinals. It literally looks like a wiry mannequin that you would find at like a general like Macy's or anything like that, and they just put a jersey and pants on him. Like, what are we doing? Like, I understand, like, Dan Snyder, he's probably on his way out, and like, they're not making money. Fans aren't going to the games. What are we doing? You had his whole family there. You had his daughter there. Like, I get they're going to be like, oh, it's so nice in the moment, but I can guarantee you behind the scenes they were not happy. It's an absolute disgrace to
he was just being a good sport.
all-time great player, and you do that. It's just a complete and utter slap in the face. It's disgusting.
I mean, it's the Washington football team. It's Dan Snyder.
I know.
It's like, if you have a bar, go below it. If your bar is the floor, go below it.
Yeah,
If you're below that, go to the equator.
The equator.
Like,
even
you know what? Go get
even if
all
you're at the
people
equator,
who are-
you're still too high.
Yes.
And people were, what do you call it? Like I put out a comment on Facebook, and people were actually getting mad at me. Like, the team's paying tribute to him. I'm like, what? With a
shit
Macy's
tribute.
mannequin? Like, what are we talking about? Like, I get the sentiment's there, but like,
If
you're defending
anyone
that.
is ever honoring
Like, what are
me
we
in
doing?
that, if anyone ever honors me in that fashion, and none of you throw fucking hands, I'm embarrassed to be friends with any of you.
It's like they had just put this shit together the night before.
That's literally what it looked like.
It's like
Yeah,
the
that's
one
exactly
kid
what
in
it looked
class who did none of the work and he just throws shit together and they're just like, I contributed.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I have a project due the next day. Oh shit, I have a project due the next day.
Ironically, that's when I did my best work.
I was the same way.
Yeah, that was a good one, Jake. That was pretty bad.
Like, I don't understand it. Like, if you're too cheap to put up an actual statue, just don't do it. Or retire his number or something. Do something.
Or put like the jersey in a frame and hang
right,
up the
yeah.
wall. Like,
right, yeah, something.
You know, put it on a mural, like, yeah, that was. I agree, that was bad.
Well, and I'm not even like a fan of the team, but like just that, like as a football fan, that hurt. Like that hurt me.
Yeah,
that hurt.
He would have been a Hall of Famer, bro.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
No. Crazy.
Total disgrace.
Crazy.
Total disgrace.
All right. Anything else before we jump out of football talk?
I think we're good.
I finally finished watching, She-Hulk, and I wanted to give my thoughts real quick.
Oh dear.
I haven't watched that one episode, so
it's really good.
You haven't watched it?
I've had like no interest.
It's very good.
I can't talk about it, I guess. But I will say, so I'll avoid spoilers. But what I will say was, I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Okay.
And that includes Daredevil. Like,
he's great.
You guys know me, like, when I went on my rant about how they do Daredevil, and I still have my reservations. I'm still waiting to see how they do with the show. But for his cameo appearance, I was good with it, and the show entertained me more than I thought it would. Like, you just can't take it seriously, but you have to be open to something different. And I think that's what I told myself. I'm like, just don't have any expectations. Just be open. And I like I said, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. So
see, that was people's issue with this show. Is they're like, oh, it's silly, it's stupid. I said, that's the whole fucking comic. Like, she breaks the fourth wall, just silly shit. And I saw some people complaining about Matt, and they're like, oh, this isn't Daredevil. So what are you talking about? He fucks everything that moves in the comics. He's a man whore in the comics. He's always like really sad and depressed about shit, and he cracks jokes. Like it was Matt Murdock to a fucking T.
Mm-hmm.
And even for me, who had never read the comics, and like I'm a purist for the Netflix series, I still thought it was done pretty well. Like I didn't complain about it. Like, yeah. So that's
literally the character who wears a Christmas sweater that says "I'm not Daredevil." Or there's a female character who she's wearing a bra that says Matt Murdock is Daredevil.
Oh God.
In Braille.
Did you guys watch the Netflix series The Watcher?
No.
So good. So good.
Pete, have you?
seen it. I've seen it. I just haven't watched it. Is that the
It's
one where the
very
dude
good.
is watching her from the other side, from the other house across the street?
Yes.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jake, I disagree. Like,
You didn't like it?
and I'll avoid spoilers, but I will say that the first few episodes were insane. And
Yes.
the
Uh-huh.
last few episodes tailed off. And
Okay, I can
thought it was a very
understand that.
disappointing ending. I thought it was a very
Mhm.
disappointing ending. So, but I think it's a series. I think it's a series that you do have to watch, especially since like most of us are like it takes place in New Jersey, based off a true story.
It's based on a true
Georgie!
story too. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think if that doesn't intrigue you, like,
Get off my fucking lawn.
I thought it was good, and I understand where like the reservation was with the ending because I didn't think the ending was too great,
yeah,
especially like the last like I'd say like 2 or 3 episodes.
yeah,
Like I
No,
understand it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. But mind you, it's just like a little mini series. They're not doing anything more
yeah.
than
It's
this
a
season. So
limited series. Yeah.
they kind of leave you on a cliffhanger. Like they hint towards something, but I don't think anything's been confirmed.
No. It's a limited series, which I appreciate. I prefer usually the series that are shorter. Like I don't.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I know that there's a finite end to it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So, trying to think if there's anything else. My next thing to watch is Wednesday. Mary and I are gonna watch
I
that.
heard that's pretty good.
I am
Okay.
looking
Really
forward
good.
to that. I'm looking forward to that.
What is that on? Amazon?
Netflix.
No, Netflix.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, Netflix. I think. Yeah, I think if you haven't watched the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, watch it.
I can't wait.
It came out just a little bit before our show came on, so go
I
watch it.
can't wait.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Oh, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special was funny.
Was it actually like really good?
It was really good.
I need to watch it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
you
45
could
minutes
literally
long.
just skip to like the last 2 minutes, and that's basically all you need to watch.
No, you need to watch the whole thing because
Like it was okay, but like
I love the dynamic between Drax and Mantis. I love their dynamic. I think they're hilarious together.
They complement each other really well.
It's so they do so well. So it's 45 minutes long, so it's long enough where you can really
Oh, that's not bad.
enjoy something, but it's not too long. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, I liked it a lot. Anyone else got anything?
I just think it's a good time for trailers today. Between that, the Transformers. I'm going to watch the Indiana Jones one after we get off.
Yeah, same.
Oh, there was an Indiana Jones one that came out? Okay.
Yeah. So, no, it's pretty good, man.
Cool. All right. Well, gentlemen, it was good to be back. I missed you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, back home in New Jersey and back on the air. So hopefully we don't have to deal with this software from afar because this is pretty bad. But other than that, the show went well. For all of you still listening to our show for some weird reason, we appreciate you. We thank you for tuning in. For all of us at A2D, make sure you check out our shows daily. We've got something for everyone every single day. So come check us out live. The tailgate party is this Sunday, right?
It is this Sunday. Yep.
Sunday,
Starts at 8 a.m. Food, drinks.
Yeah.
$35 for a wristband to get yourself in. Unlimited food and drinks, and you can
Go check it out, guys. Go hang out with some of us at A2D at that tailgate party if you are planning to go to the link for the game. For our main sponsor, which is Baggio's Bread in Mount Laurel. Baggio's in Mount Laurel. 10% off your order. Don't forget. So, for myself, Chucks, Mr. OG Pete, Dick Creel, and Mr. Young, we appreciate you. Love you. Go Eagles. Let's get this tough win on Sunday.
let's do it.
God bless. Fly Eagles fly. Peace out.